Unique New York. Unique New York.
Around the ragged rocks, the ragged rascal ran. All right.
Oh, no, brown cow.
All right, my diction is
brown cow.
erect. I'm ready to go.
Excuse me, what's erect?
It said my diction is erect.
Have some New York pizza in front of me to eat while we talk.
Lame. Not even the best kind of pizza.
Not even.
I'm pretty sure I've got half the field on my side.
Also, Chicago is just a casserole. Chicago style pizza is not pizza. It's a casserole.
Hold on. Deep dish is its own specialty, but we don't eat deep dish every day. We die.
You got my video in so you can see my face. This is a video podcast, right?
Today, I guess.
Oh, shit. Really?
Yeah, I saw it on Twitter.
Who died?
Oh,
Bismarck.
Just a friend?
Yes. Great song.
Oh, there's another good one.
Baby, you.
He's really trying. He wants that cold open so bad. And you say he's just a friend.
Just glitch out completely as you're screaming.
Oh, baby.
In
In all seriousness. Is this show actually serious? All right.
No.
All right, and welcome to Just Here for the GSLR. I am getting major echo off of somebody.
I'm just wondering what GSLR is.
I kept hearing my voice. Chris, it's you.
It's Chris. He's lighting up. I can hear it.
Oh,
and welcome
baby,
to...
I wanted to do it, but I didn't want to be a dick.
Welcome to Just Here for the GLSR. My name is Sammy B. I'm the driver of the 22 and one of the admins here for Great Lakes Sim Racing at the Truck Series. I am joined by the voice of GLSR. It's the captain, Chris Scala.
And I am not drunk one bit.
No, you're not. No, you're not. But we got a real treat. We got the Michigan Wonder Boy himself. We got the best one, Alan Best.
Hey, it's me.
It's me, Alan.
I'm not Italian at all, but I'll take it.
Hey, speaking of Italian, this New York pizzas were really good.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, wow. Oh, it's really good. Okay, anyways. We had a great race in Michigan. It always provides a freaking fantastic race.
Yep.
And, I mean, we have a lot of things we have to get to with this episode because if there's time for it at the end, I want to tell you guys the season 5 calendar. Is that all right?
Oh, I think that's wonderful.
So if we save some time at the end of the show, we're just going to tell everyone what season 5 is going to hold for us. So I want to get right into this with all the crazy action that happened out there.
So I see what he's doing here. He's going to make the drivers and everybody listen to hear the schedule.
Yeah,
that's
a good call.
Just 101
Genius.
stuff right there.
That's Sammy B right there at his geniusness.
Smart.
So, oh man, though, I mean, I would say the biggest heartbreak, but glad it worked out for him, was that Sean Peachin's bad luck came back again, and he got wrecked out of what was it, lap 10? Something real low, and he just squeaked in. I mean, you want to talk about a team having things going their way with 3 drivers off into the playoffs to 1 fitting in as the 10th seed. Ace had everything go wrong for them at the end stretch of the season. I mean, you went from having Drift and Evans and Peachin all set for the playoffs to only Peachin squeaking in by just the barest of margins. That's a tough turnaround for a team, so I do feel bad for them.
Well, it's funny because if you listen to the broadcast, I shouldn't say funny, more ironic, I guess. I say Sean puts a message out there about, well, I'm out of the playoffs now or something like that early in the race. And I make the comment to Sean on the stream. I say, Sean, get back out there. Get back out there. And I said it a few times. And he got back out there. And as you see, 1, 2, 3, 4 positions can change everything for you.
Well, he was what?
Glad he did.
Fifth? He was fifth going into the Michigan race. Or was
I believe
he sixth?
so. He was up there.
Sixth. He was high.
I thought he had. I didn't even know he was close to not making it until we exited out there and saw he ended up in 10th in points, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, that's why you don't quit.
I mean, it really shows just how intense the championship was this year. That guys like Dean and Calhoun were really able to turn around their seasons and make it in, but also how
somebody else too.
I mean, I think we'll talk about him a bit later, Alan.
Okay.
We'll talk about you plenty because I can't believe you did it. I hyped you all up at the beginning of the season. You are still, for whatever reason, the guy I picked as my dark horse champion is you. So when you were
many opportunities to change that, so many opportunities to renege on that, but oh well.
No, I am holding it down because I said it. I'm standing by it, and you're already proving my point. But yeah, the fact that like the championship really, with a lot of people, were up and down the grid, coming and going. I mean, Dean said this to me to try and make me feel a little better, but he was like, you had the worst, me personally, I had a terrible start to the season and I was able to salvage it to 16th. Had I just finished some of the early races, I could have been flirting with that lower 10 spot, maybe something to think about for next season. But I mean, I just love this track a lot. And I know it also means a lot to Travis and especially you. Like, how did, you were the one that came out with a great 4th place finish out there. How did it feel knowing not only that there's that little bit of a home track want to do well, but knowing just how you had to perform to make it in?
Well, Chris asked me after the race how much pressure there was on me, and honestly, I didn't feel that much pressure because that's been the last 3 or so races for me. Just to be able to make it into the playoffs, I've had to finish every single race. I can't have a bad race. So it's like my playoffs started like 2-3 weeks ago. So luckily there wasn't much pressure, or there was, but I just didn't really put it on myself. And I like Michigan too. I like Michigan a lot. I feel like one of my stronger suits are the 1.5 miles or bigger tracks. I like the momentum tracks. I feel like I can actually excel there better than road courses or short tracks. So yeah, I felt good going into it. I did a little bit of practice with Jordan, my teammate, and so yeah, I was going into the race feeling pretty good. I wasn't going to do anything crazy. I wasn't going to put my nose in somewhere it shouldn't be. If I was going 3 wide, or if somebody put me 3 wide, I was going to back out of it. I just couldn't crash, and I knew that pretty much after lap 10 when Evans crashed out. I knew all I had to do was finish in front of Drift, and I was in the playoffs. So for most of the race, I was feeling pretty good.
So when you're out there in that situation, because Michigan was such an interesting race because it seemed like there's so many trucks that were out there in a pack, and usually you get in that long run and the pack breaks up, and it seemed like it didn't do that too much this time.
It doesn't break up.
Came back together, and I thought that made that kind of perception very what's the word I'm looking? It made it very interesting because you had to battle and you had to keep the track position because you could easily make one move to the inside and the freight train right on by you, basically, and you fall back from like second to ninth or second to 10th or whatever. I saw that plenty of times, it seemed like, in that race Wednesday. So how were you able to keep that track position? Because you were consistently, it looked like a top 5 truck.
Well, so on the first caution there, I made the bold decision to take tires only after 10 laps. And I believe it was just me, Tanner, and then my teammate Jordan also took tires. That was mainly just to get track position and hoping to lead a lap to get some bonus points because I didn't know if that was going to make a difference at the end of the race for the playoffs. So I did that knowing that I was going to have somewhere in the middle of the race, I was going to be fall way down in track position and I was going to have to get a lucky caution, which I eventually did. And I got tires and I got on the same, tire rotation as everybody else. So that saved me. I had a lucky caution there. Um, but yeah, I mean, I got lucky pretty much with that.
I mean, so much of these, and I think what I like so much about this track in particular, maybe this style of track, is that it strikes, I think, the best balance for the trucks between, again, momentum, draft, but not being just pedal to the metal, no thinking about it. It's all about just, powering through and getting past the guy. Because you do have to really manage your line and manage your throttle on your tire. Still, even though it's a big 2-mile track, you had to think about that stuff. And compared to a Daytona or a Talladega, where it's just for how many laps.
Yeah. So yeah, that was. I mean, with that package at Michigan, that pack racing is so hectic and it gets real hairy because like I had just had to have a clean race, but you're right on top of each other at all times. It was pretty much 2 lanes wide the whole race. Keith kept that bottom lane that whole race. It felt like with those PPM cars, and it made it work. So yeah, you had to be real careful with your throttle just to save your tires. You don't want to, if you overcommit on one corner, there goes your tires, at least a percentage, and that'll push you right back. Somebody gets a draft on you and you get out of line and you get freight train. So it in the pack there when I was racing with everybody else, I was definitely white knuckling it. I was being careful, but I was white knuckling it because I knew at any time it could go down. And I could have, and it almost, I was lucky with that first caution because I just missed it on the inside and it collected, I don't know what, 6 cars or so, 6 trucks. So I was lucky with that. And then get track position, knew I was going to fall back the next run because I didn't take tires. Um, and then got a lucky caution and got back on the same rotation as everybody tires wise. So it, Michigan is a real interesting race because of the pack racing that it creates in iRacing.
But it's pack racing, but not mindless pack racing. I think that's like the distinction.
Right, exactly. You really have to work on it. Otherwise, you're going back to the pack like what we saw a lot of people. And if you get, it's very aero dependent. So if you touch the wall a little bit, which I think Amon had damage from the first or second caution, and he couldn't keep up with his teammates Dane and Noah. He was like a 5th, 6th, 7th place truck the whole night because he had that little bit of damage. He couldn't keep up with those guys. So yeah, it's a track where you really have to work on everything and you have to be like switched on at all times. So it was fun. It makes it fun.
How much pressure did it add that you had Union as a sponsor, union.com, your website there, on the truck as the sponsor of the race, and you're trying to get yourself into a playoff spot?
Yeah. Luckily, I didn't add too much pressure to me. I just, not to say I don't care about that kind of stuff, but like I think last year when I sponsored Iowa, I got in a wreck with Evans, and it sent me back to like 15th or something like that, and I had a real good run going. So I kind of put that out of my mind because I knew that that kind of stuff could happen. So I didn't want to add any. I didn't want to add any extra pressure to myself. So I kind of didn't think about it really.
Well, that's the best thing I guess you could do is block that kind of thing out. And I've never had that kind of situation happen because, I mean, I've only ran in like one league where I've had an actual outside sponsor. I didn't have like a painted stock car paint scheme or something that you run, like, you know, a Jeff Gordon paint scheme or something. I, you know, had an outside sponsor on the car. And the only time I can ever think of something close to this is I had a sponsor that was based out of Nashville. And it was in a league that it was right after Nashville was released, the regular short track, the fairgrounds. And I actually was like, man, I actually feel like I got to go out here and kind of run well because, yes, it's a simulator, but you know what? This guy's investing in me to run well for this guy's fitness company. And lo and behold, I about won the darn thing and finished second.
Nice.
But it's like, I don't know what it is, but it almost like you get a hometown feel, which in this case, it was your home track, but I'm from Florida. I felt like I was kind of racing at a home track running that night in Nashville.
Gotcha. Well, luckily for me, the boss over at union.com is me. It's me, Jordan, and our friends Travis. So it's not like I had to report to anybody after the race. You know what I mean? It's on me. So I can kind of compartmentalize that aspect of it. I don't have any pressure, any outside pressure, I'll say, from somebody, and I don't, so I think that helps big time.
I mean, I definitely like. It's funny because I have Sith Talk on my truck and we have Sith Talk on Keith's truck, so it's like double relaxed for me because 9 times out of 10, William's doing way better than me. So I'm like, well, Sith Talk's up there somewhere, so I'm fine. But I mean, I'll admit, in past seasons when I had the Black Horizon paint before I let Dean use it, I definitely felt that, especially later on when they're like, hey, how are things going? And I'm like, all right. So I always be like, make sure I had a good paint for the road races so that they knew that they were going to see their truck out there. But it's definitely interesting to have that more and more now as more kind of like genuine, real sponsors are sponsoring guys in our league.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. And a little spoiler is Best Racing will have that next season. We'll have an actual outside sponsor that I communicated with and I started a relationship with, and so I will be facing those kind of challenges next season with an actual sponsor and sending them, weekly updates and photos and media packages and all that kind of stuff. So uh, I'll get back to you guys with how much pressure that adds rather than just me and Jordan's company on our trucks.
Always exciting to hear breaking news on the podcast.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, that's 2
Yeah,
weeks in a row we've had breaking news.
I don't want to spoil too much, but yeah, we'll as soon as someone does a paint scheme for us, we'll do the announcement.
Sorry, sorry it's taking so long.
I was told it was a no rush deal.
It is a no rush deal. It's a no rush deal. I'm
All
just
right.
messing with it.
I mean, beyond just talking about the Michigan race, I really feel like it would be fun to break down who our playoff drivers are and the surprises, the expectations. I think it'd be even fun if we all pick a hypothetical Final Four right now.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm calling it. Like, it's just like, I think just for fun, who do we think out of our 10 is going to be the Final Four? But I mean, I'll read through the list right now. The 10th guy, Sean Peachin. 9th, Alan Best. 8th, Blaine Sparling. 7th, Christopher Dean. 6th, Jason Dalton. 5th, William Calhoun. 4th, Noah Miori. 3rd, Caden Atkins. 2nd, Zach Amon. And 1st, Dane Cruz. So the PPM boys, 1 through 4, they're the only full team to get into the playoffs, and the only team that got more than one driver was Down Under Racing with Dean and Sparling.
Interesting. Very interesting. So what, we're picking our final four then right now?
I mean, it's just like we can. I was mainly just like seeing who was the surprises in that group. I mean, I think no one's surprised to see PPM still up
No,
there.
yeah,
They're
not at all.
in the team standings. They're just dominating. Actually, after that last race, Down Under Racing became the second team in the point standings over Aced. But I mean, I still think someone said it earlier in the Discord, and I'm just going to say it again. I think Blaine Sparling is, I think, the most underrated driver in the whole league. This is his
Absolutely.
second playoffs in a row. And if you were going to talk about who's your great oval racers, I don't know if people would think of Blaine Sparling off the top of their head. But this is his second playoffs in a row. He's Mr. Consistency. He's always just getting solid results every week, and he's in the playoffs.
Yeah, so I took a note because I struggled the past two seasons, whether learning tracks or whatnot, and took I clocked Blaine's performance last season because I don't think I'm going to hurt his feelings, but I don't think he's the best oval racer. But he was, top easily top 10 in points. Whether I think he was up to top 5 at one point. So I was like, okay, what I feel like I'm just as fast, if not faster than him. So I give a lot of credit to him for what he does, and I kind of modeled my, I'll say mindset after him. Just finish number one. That's the biggest thing. Finish, and if you can finish where you're kind of quote unquote supposed to, you can be in the top 10 in points and get into the playoffs. So I give him a lot of credit for what he's done. He's obviously gotten to be a much better oval racer than when season 1. So but he's great on the road. He's pretty good on dirt. So I was like, okay, if I can do what he does, then I'll feel good about my chances. Whether, I mean, accidents happen and stuff outside of your control happen. But yeah, I took a big cue off of what he was able to do the last season, and obviously he's carried it over to this season too. And I've been nothing but impressed. I'm like you said, people are surprised. I'm done being surprised with him getting top 10 finishes. That's where he belongs now.
Yeah.
That's what he does. So yeah, big hats off to him, and he's certainly a dark horse.
Yeah, I'm not surprised necessarily with anybody in the top 10. I think it's, a well-deserved top 10. Blaine's done a great job, as you've mentioned. Alan, you've hit on so many great points there on his end, and he does it with a little bit of a different racing style. I mean, he kind of lays back, and Sam, you mentioned this last week. He lets it come to him. It's like that race will just fall right into his lap, and all of a sudden there he is up in the top 10, getting
Exactly.
the finish when it's all over with. But I'm kind of going to go the other side of things here. I'm going to go to the surprise that did not get in the top 10, and that's Drift. And I say that because this man leaving Bristol on the concrete had 3 top 10 finishes, a third at Talladega and 11th at USA, and was sitting like top 5 in points at that point. And from that point on into June, he never had a better finish than 9th. And I'm talking about worse than 13th in 5 of those 6 races, and fell right out of the top 10. And that surprised me a little bit because I know Drift's a consistent racer, but obviously his luck after that Bristol concrete race where he finished 8th, it just fell off the map for him.
It really shows how tight the field is. I mean, I think a similar guy to that is you look at their results. Justin Bondurant, 2 top 5s, 4 top 10s, and he's sitting 1 place ahead of me in points. He's 15th. I'm 16th. Justin Bondurant is 15th in points. A guy with 4 top 10s and 2 top 5s.
It's crazy.
So it really shows just how much that calendar changed things around. Again, and I said it earlier in the show, Aced had 3 guys in the playoffs and now they have one who was scraped in as the 10th seed. It's crazy how it switches around, and goes to show. I mean, again, I feel like we keep talking about, oh, Blaine, Blaine, Blaine. I mean, he's really good, but he's obsessed about tire saving. And you talk about someone who lays back, he lets things happen, saves his tires, and then comes back through the field with a clean truck and good tires. It's like, why didn't I think of that?
Well,
Exactly.
the question on Bondurant though is where do you finish in his other races?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It wasn't pretty.
I think consistency in this league, I learned it from Blaine last season. Consistency is the biggest thing. I mean, look at Chris Evans. He won a race. He got the most points. He's won a race, and he did not make the playoffs. That's crazy. I don't know if that happens in a whole lot of leagues out there. You know?
So here's
Well, I mean,
Bondurant. Here's Bondurant for you. I'm sorry. 8th in Talladega, first race of the season. 21st, 30th, 10th, 19th, 25th, 5th, 3rd, 18th, 17th. That graph's going way up and down like an elevator.
Yeah.
And
I feel like-
his bad ones aren't even that bad either. I don't feel like it's just
Well,
he was
30th at USA isn't pretty.
Yeah, that's the rough one there. But Atlanta, so I didn't get any points from Atlanta, so I just had to grind it out and just really grind for top tens. And if you really don't do that, then tough luck.
It definitely is an interesting back and forward between, hitting your, I don't want to say hitting your marks, but, hitting your stride, whatever it is, and pushing the envelope. Because, I mean, Sean is someone who we all, very similar to Justin, very similar to Drift, has speed, and we know has speed. He just seems to have the uncanny ability to be at the wrong place at the wrong time every race. I mean, he was very much in the front of that. He was second or third at Michigan when, I don't know, when Amon just got into him. Like Amon was a bit of a missile, net code or not. His truck was, aiming in that direction. It just didn't work out. And then, like, I'm glad he got in at 10th, but it's so interesting, especially now with the playoffs. It requires you to be a bit more on the attack. It's sort of reverse strategy now, because you have 3 races to make sure you're in. And it's going to be 3 crazy races. I mean, IRP, tiny little short track, and then we go to 2 big boys with Pocono and back to Indianapolis. So
Yeah.
it's going to be a wild playoffs of just each race is going to feel really, really different from each other. I'm excited to see Pocono.
Absolutely.
That'll be our first Pocono appearance, and I have no idea what to
Right.
expect.
Yeah, Pocono is going to be the biggest wild card to me. Like that's the crazy part about these playoffs. I can say I don't think the 10 fastest guys in our league are in these playoffs. So that'll jumble up these playoff races, especially with a short race, a short track to lead it off. Like I will gladly admit I'm not the best at short tracks. I'm just going to grind out a decent finish. I'm going to like you said, I'm going to let Bondurant by me. I'm not going to try and race him. I know he's faster than me. Same thing with Drift. Like I know there are guys faster than me. I'm not going to try and race them and potentially wreck myself. So it's these playoffs are going to be very, very interesting.
All right, we've danced around it. I think it's time we each make our final 4 picks.
Okay.
And I want to have Mr. Scala go, because I feel like he's been quiet in our driver discussions. Well, he did. So you must have had some time to think.
Yeah, I've done a little thinking here, and I've listened to what everybody, there's 3 of us. Hello, Chris. The 3 of us have talked about with these drivers and stuff. And, I've done some looking, done a little bit of research and stuff. And if I had to pick my final 4 right now, I'm going to say Noah Mayari is in. I'm going to go with Calhoun as my second. Surprise here. Jason Dalton as my third. And I say that because I've said it 100 times this season. He is a short track guy. And we're going to Lucas Oil Raceway to start this race, this playoff.
Yeah.
So I think he's the third. My fourth guy, I'm going to say Zach Almond.
All right,
Yeah,
all right. Alan?
that's good. I totally, to be honest with you, I totally forgot about Dalton, and that's a great pick. I would say I'm gonna go with two PPM drivers, Noah, and then I think Dane is gonna get in because he's
Mm.
also good at short tracks. Um, I'm gonna go with Keith or William Squilliam Pontoon. Because he's just, it doesn't matter where we go, he's good. Um, and then because Sam likes to give me the confidence boost and say that I'm going to win the championship, I was going to go me, but now I'm really liking that Dalton pick. So, but no, Dalton is the realistic pick for me, but I'll say me just to, just to have
Let's
a little fun,
let's not
just
boost
to be a
Sean's.
little cocky.
Let's not boost Sam's ego.
it's my ego he's boosting.
All right, that leaves it for me. I don't know
Yeah.
how you guys can't think of Zach Ahmed first off the bat. He is the master of flat tracks, and each track of the playoffs is pretty dang flat. So he is just good at those tracks that are. I mean, I think of Gateway. I think of Milwaukee Mile. He's always fast at those styles of tracks. So I don't know how you don't think of Zach Amman off the bat first.
I'm going to tell you where I don't think of Zach first, and here's my reasoning why. Two reasons.
All right.
Those are great tracks for him, as you mentioned. However, this is the first season where this man has been running into issues with his own team.
I agree.
You go to Phoenix, runs away with the show, gets wrecked by a teammate. It's like, I'm watching it, and I said this to Dane in the broadcast on Wednesday. And at that time, I said it seriousness, and I'm going to say it again here in seriousness, because there's going to be times this week I'm going to throw it out there to him as like a joke too, because I'm just that kind of guy in Discord, and I just pick on people, and we have fun because people pick on me back. But these four guys, I mean, you worry about them running into each other. Now, I think Noah is the least to worry about on that scale of that happening, but Dane and Zach seem to be magnets to each other. And you end up having a team that runs away and leads every lap. They could lead all the laps at Lucas Oil Wednesday night. But all of a sudden, when we look up there on the final lap of the race and William Calhoun wins, or Dean wins, or Alan Best wins, and it's like, wait a minute, didn't PPM just run away with the show?
Yeah. Yeah. No,
I mean,
I agree with you. I think
you're not wrong.
I think Zach and Caden are probably more of the quote unquote aggressive drivers out of PPM, and I think that will get them in trouble, especially with a track like Pocono.
I mean,
It's
these guys are starting to have memes and gifs being created of them, of the term being PPM'd.
Yeah, exactly. It's a thing. It's not just happened once. It happened on lap 10.
Yeah.
Zach got into somebody on lap 10 at Michigan. That's
It was Sean.
yeah, I know, but he got into somebody on lap 10. I don't think that's. I mean, if they can chill out for the playoffs, I think that'll be the best thing that they can do, and they might all four get in the top four. But I don't know if they can chill out and just have a relaxed race. I think they want to race each other, which is fine, and it makes it fun and interesting, but it doesn't lead to all four of them in the playoffs in the final.
I will still reaffirm. I think Noah is sort of team lead, the coolest head. He's trying to calm everyone down on that team. I think Zach still is someone to consider for the Final Four, and I'm still going to put him in there. I think
he absolutely is.
I think Dane could be. Dane is absolutely Final Four material. He has the highest points total out of everyone in the league, but I'm convinced he's going to wreck each race. That's the flip side of that.
Bold prediction. That's your cold take of the night.
There we go.
Wrecks in every playoff race.
That honestly doesn't feel that crazy though.
No, it's not.
So I think Ammon's in. I don't know what fire has been lit under Calhoun, but he's getting pretty scary quick. I mean, he marched up the field. Yes, I know he has other teammates in Bully Racing, but he pretty much solo ran up Michigan by himself, held off all 4 PPM drivers by himself, and then won. Like
On the
he's
inside line.
yeah,
On
on the
on the inside line,
unfavorable
that's not
line.
the fastest line.
So like
Yeah.
he's on something. I think both of those previous champs are in, and that leaves the other 2 spots. Who are the other 2 spots? Um, hmm. I'm trying to think of like who's the best short track racer out of these guys.
I think Chris Dean is probably my wild card 5th place because he's good at short tracks.
Dean needs to settle in. I think so much of this season he's just been plagued by how the start went and had a lot of memes and jokes to overcome, and he's someone who's always in the hunt. He had his win season 2 at Milwaukee Mile, and he beat Amon on a tire strategy, I think. So he's always in the hunt. I could see him. I mean, he just missed out last season. I remember he took. I think he literally got edged out by William at Indianapolis by like a few points. It was so close.
Yep, I remember that. Yeah.
Um,
Just the way
so
he marched through the field at Phoenix, though, and Phoenix is a tough track. A lot of people do not like that track, but he got whatever accident went to the back of the pack early on
he
in the
was
race, and
he
he
had a
marched
speeding
through.
penalty, I think,
Was it speeding? Okay, it was a speeding penalty,
and he
but he
absolutely screamed through
flew
the
through
field.
the. It was. I was like, oh my goodness. So yeah,
Dean
he's
on his day can absolutely take down anybody. It's just will
yeah.
IRP and Pocono be his day?
I think Pocono will be his day. That seems like a Dean track to me,
He does
but
like it.
we'll see. Yeah.
I'm between Dean and Peachin for that third one. Sean, I mean, I love the guy to death. I just don't know if he'll ever escape his bad luck. I could see him having a super strong outing at Indianapolis. I could
Hmm.
see him getting tied up with Dane at IRP. I'm going to give my teammate the support. I say Dean is going to make it in, so it's going to be an old guard. Amon, Calhoun, Dean, and I'm going to say it. Alan Best is going to the Final Four, baby.
An
Gonna
all OG
happen.
final.
Yeah, all OG final. I'm not playing biased at all.
Nice. No, I like that. Obviously, I like that. That'd be cool.
I'm just going to keep the hype train going if you keep believing.
Hey, got
Dude,
me this far, so I'll take it.
I maintain there's something about you in Chicagoland. If you can just make it that far, I'm not counting you out. I'm being
I know.
100% serious.
I know. Like I said, I like the mile and a half momentum tracks, like Michigan and Chicago is right there. So I like Chicago. Me and Ricky on a weird fuel strategy could have ran away with that last season.
No, and
And
then what happened? I don't remember.
I mean, some guy,
Somebody dropped a hanky on the track.
some guy spun it all by himself.
I hit the banana peel on the exit of pit road, took out a
Yeah.
Final Four driver. I don't want to talk about it.
It's fine. It's fine.
I just
I'm not
realized I'm
talking.
wearing my T-shirt that has that accident on it right now.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
All right, well,
But yeah, so
we've
not a bad
talked about
choice.
we have talked about the playoff picture. We talked about Michigan, but I want to talk about you more, Alan. And I think the one thing I am curious about is how did Union come together? How did that get started?
So me, Jordan, my teammate, and then our other friend Travis, um, we saw we saw a lot of car companies spring out, and it's basically like we liked what Hoonigan was doing, basically, but we didn't want to be um that obnoxious. We didn't want to be like the annoying teenager, cough Zach Amon cough, of the car world. So we wanted something a little more classy and wanted to be creative and do our own thing. So we came up with a little logo and we made a couple of t-shirts to start off and we just kind of went from there. We've had fun with it along the way. We don't take ourselves too seriously, and yeah, it's like a fun little side project that we have that we can say that that's our own.
I
Now,
gotta ask.
oh,
I was gonna
oh,
say. I
you go
gotta ask.
first.
Sorry, Sam. No, I was gonna say. I guess the question I've always asked when I see your logo, the X.
Mhm.
What is there something about that in the? Because obviously Union traditionally UNION. What's the X
Correct.
about?
So basically, not. It's real hard to buy union.com.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't do that. So we liked the word just because it was kind of symmetrical. It's short. It's two syllables. It's just it rolls off the tongue nice and easy. You can apply it to a lot of different things. Um, it, it just looked good in a bunch of different texts and fonts and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, we couldn't use the O because we can't buy that website. So we just went with a an X instead of an O. It's not really that fun or romantic, other than it's just it's different.
Anti-stance stance club. What? What's the significance of that? I know that's like a thing I've seen before, but like, is that just one like a joke? I feel very
So
old and uncool right now.
so
What are
anti
you kids up to?
what does this mean? Um so antisocial social club is a very large and popular streetwear brand. Um and it's kind of on the same level of oh gosh, what's the red bar sticker? It's
Supreme?
one word. Supreme, yes.
Mm.
It's the same kind of thing as Supreme. It's a hype beast type company that the owner's into the car scene a little bit, so he gets a lot of popularity from the car community, and there's been numerous knockoffs of Antisocial Social Club, and me, Jordan, and Travis like cars that are quote unquote have the right stance, if you will. So we just put stance instead of social, and I thought it works. It's not the most clever thing, but it works, and I'm happy with it. People like it. People seem to enjoy it.
All right. Um, I'm just trying to think of it. I've always wanted to know like more about like I've obviously looked at the website and like the
Hmm.
different stuff that you sell, but I've just always wondered like if it was something you were like if you were just I feel like a lot of interests have weird blending points where like they just overlap, and for some people it's I don't know their interest in fashion and cars. And I didn't know if you had like a background in fashion or an interest in it that always followed you and like it just combined with your automotive like enjoyment. Like, I'm just curious how those things coalesce.
Yeah, basically. I've been a car guy my whole life. And I've kind of thought of myself a little bit of a creative type, not anything to your level, but I've I've known Photoshop and Lightroom and Illustrator since high school, and just messing around there on theirs was always fun to me. So I wanted to do like a little bit of like graphic design work, and what better way to do it than to start your own brand and experiment a little bit kind of thing. So not too crazy into fashion, but certainly into the car community and all that kind of stuff. And why not have a little bit of fun creating your own stuff?
So I gotta ask the obvious question here. So I'm looking through the website right now, and I see all the stuff that you could purchase, and it's obviously some real good mixture of things here. And then I come down across the dad hat.
Yeah, dad hats are in style.
Dad hats are in style, but I'm
Oh
more
yeah.
the guy that's in the photo is the part that catches my eye. It's one Alan Best
Oh
in the
yeah, that'd be
photo here,
me. I try not to model our own stuff
except the
as
dad hat.
as much as possible because A, I don't think I'm a model, and it's me usually taking the photos. So, yeah, that'd be me, and I make an appearance one time on the website.
I mean, you've got the supreme dad bod going, so I mean, I feel it and I like it, but
Uh, thanks, I think.
you're welcome. Oh man, it's
So when's the Union beard trimmer coming out?
Oh, it's not. I'll I'll pay somebody to do that for me before I do it myself.
I mean, following what you were just kind of talking about though with the photography side of things. Um
Mhm.
yeah, I always, you know, I feel like with a lot of us, our automotive enjoyment starts super young, whether that's just we saw it on TV or it was Hot Wheels or it was video games, whatever. But I have always enjoyed the, and I've tried to do it somewhat professionally, and now it's much more just like for the enjoyment of it. But like the photography of vehicles and the
Mhm.
art of design of cars and their the the sculpture of them and also the representation of what was going on in history at that point, the cultural design choices of a Japanese car versus a German car versus an American car. I mean, one, do you think a car can be art? And two, what's a style of car, a period of car that speaks to you?
So I think why I like cars so much is the mixture between mechanics and art. I think they're both. There's so much art and design that goes into them, but for a great car, it's got to have the mechanic side of it, you know? So when you ask me I'll say probably like 80s German cars have been probably my favorite for a long, long time. Um, I had an 87 BMW 535 IS that I loved that car. It's raw, organic car and just feedback. Same kind of thing with like old 80s Porsches, which a lot of people agree because those prices are skyrocketing like crazy on any air-cooled Porsche. It's just got the vintage, it's got the raw feel to it, and it's got that, I don't know, 80s beauty, if you will, 70s, 80s, 90s beauty. It's simple, it's not overcomplicated like so many cars these days are. So I think there's a real sweet spot with 80s German cars, and I love all kinds of cars too. I My dad has been a hot rodder his entire life, so I grew up with the pre-war Fords and Chevys. So I know a decent amount of history with that. I love JDM cars. Same thing, those 80s, 90s JDM cars are just chef's kiss, if you will.
Mhm.
I
Well, I
think
think.
one oh sorry.
I'm sorry. No, you're fine. I'm just more like I'm picturing what Alan's saying, and also what you just said, Sam. You mentioned art, and I couldn't immediately think of a quote that was said to me about anything you create is art. I remember hearing that when I was younger, and I thought about that when you put a car together, you're designing it. When you put the paint on the car, you're painting it. You're all that stuff is art. And when put those kind of you're putting a car on a road in a season in a certain terrain, it's like all these different, you could say, arts have to come together to be able to photograph something, like a couple of those cars you see like in a fall setting with like the color red, because red or orange or something like that goes with fall. Or you see like a white car, I think in one of the photos is over on the beach, type of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no,
The
there's it's they're not a bunch of Volvos running around, basically a bunch of 80s Volvos
Right.
bricks running around on the road. Somebody's got to do the design work on them and make stylistic choices. So yeah, absolutely a lot of art that goes into them.
And then, like, one aspect I was just thinking about is that we've been talking about like the art, the design of cars, and you mentioned the mechanical sense. That really speaks to you talk about art being anything. It's not just the car aesthetically or the mechanics within it. It is its performance, the theater of a vehicle, if you will, and the emotions that it brings out and conjures, and how it has like a stage presence. It's again, I think a lot of people were always surprised that I was this art kid, theater kid like that, but I had this deep fascination with cars and racing, and a lot of it was the emotive side of what a car can do, but also the places it can take you.
Mhm.
So this conversation has gotten much more philosophical than I thought, but I'm loving it.
A lot boring for a lot of people, but yeah, no, it's fun. It's a conversation that me and my friends have pretty much all the time, so it's not foreign to me.
Well, Chris, do we want to start getting into some rapid fire questions here so we leave some time to talk about the schedule?
One of many segments I always look forward to right here.
All right.
Shall we?
Why don't you start?
Oh man, we've got some good ones for you tonight, my friend, Mr. Best. And in case you've not heard this segment, be prepared for anything. Nothing's off limits, as
Alrighty.
we've said all night. So you never know what you're going to get from us. So, for instance, I'm going to start you off with this one. Your favorite
Okay.
type of cake?
Double chocolate.
Ugh.
Yes.
Was that a
It's
disgust
yeah,
emotion
it's just
from Sam Barnes?
Like, it's like
Okay, how about the what's the buttercream frosting?
Now,
Chocolate
I'm not
inside
telling
the
you to
buttercream
change your
frosting.
mind. It's
No,
just
that's a I like the buttercream frosting. That's a home run in my book.
see, I think
But
Sam
gotta
was
have
looking
the
for some
chocolate.
kind of like pistachio chocolate mixed in with like strawberry
Yeah.
frosting
Look.
topped with pecans or something.
No, I'm
it's very
simple.
good, but I actually am not a big sweets person. It's like I prefer. I don't like overly rich things. Like, again, like those double, triple chocolate cakes make my stomachs hurt. But here's my question for you. We were just talking about photography and stuff like that. But what's your favorite go-to lens to shoot with?
A 50 millimeter prime lens is probably always going to be the best kind of lens. I think that's it can do anything you want.
Canon,
I think
Nikon.
that's yeah, Canon. That's always a go-to.
Hmm.
I think every photographer ever has a 50 millimeter prime lens in their bag somewhere. So
It is a classic photographic
The classic.
lens.
it's a classic. It does anything you want.
That's the best kind of camera to have. It does best you want. Speaking of the best you want, what's your dream beer?
Dream beer.
Mhm.
There was a brewery by my house that had a tangerine wheat beer that I loved. That beer, and that place closed down. And I've had mango wheat beer and stuff in that realm, but nothing's ever hit like that hit. So a nice tangerine wheat beer, if I could find that again, that's the go-to.
See, and that's where I guess I'm different on the beer scale because I'm one that when I drink a beer, I want to be able to sit there, enjoy the taste, but I don't want to taste it an hour from now.
No, I'm
So,
with
like,
you.
when you think of like Blue Moon comes off top of my mind.
Yeah, I like Blue Moon. That's a
Fantastic.
go-to
It's a
for me.
fantastic beer. Yes, I mean, you could eat dinner with it because it fills you up really quickly. But it can really kind of stick with you taste wise for a while, where like a light beer maybe doesn't so much, and things like so. Like I'll go to like a brewery or something like that, and I'll do like the little samples and things like that. And then I get down here towards these darker ones, and I'm like, I am so hesitant to taste this right now.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
I can do IPAs. I'm not big into IPAs, but I'll do them. I don't touch porters. I just anything with coffee or chocolate in it.
Oh, you
Hmm.
guys
No,
are
thank
missing out.
Whoa,
I-
whoa, whoa, whoa.
I'm
No,
sitting
no,
here
no,
right
no,
now.
no.
I'm drinking of Quiet Contemplation, which is Black Horizon's stout brewed with cold brew coffee, cinnamon, and vanilla, and it's delicious.
I would be willing to try that. But let me tell you something. I went to a beer event in Fort Wayne, Indiana, It was the last event I went to when I lived there before moving to New York after everything went on with my radio career and stuff. And they had all these different beers set up. You go in, you had your own cup, you just chug and, obviously drink beers and stuff. And I'm going to go ahead and put it out there. Some idiot decided, let's make sriracha beer.
Oh, God.
Oh, God. I like spicy, but not to drink.
So it was the only drink that I actually chased it with water.
Oh, God.
Oh, man.
Right? I'm like, this guy deserves to be out of business just for trying too hard.
So there's a hard cider place near me called Blake's. They do, I think, statewide or nationwide, but they have a hard cider right now with habanero in it.
Oh my God!
No.
Interesting choice.
Please no.
I'm not going to touch it with a 10-foot pole, but interesting choice.
I'm going to quickly steer us to the next question. I don't want to talk about spicy beer anymore.
Yeah, do that. Go ahead with that.
Are you saying we beard off?
Boo.
Sorry.
Now, one thing we haven't really talked about much is that you stream on Twitch a lot. What's the weirdest thing to happen to you on Twitch?
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Twitch TV /Allen_Union. If you want to follow me on there.
Don't forget the dot.
Yeah, twitch.tv. Sorry.
There you go.
Big different there.
Yep, big time.
Nothing really weird has happened to me. Yeah, nothing really super weird has happened to me on Twitch.
What about
I've been rated. I've been rated by somebody with hundreds of people that came in for like a quick 5 minutes. I guess that was like the wildest thing that's ever happened, but nothing really crazy. I'm trying to think of what would be crazy, but yeah, no, I don't think anything that exciting has happened to me yet. Hopefully soon.
Is yet to come.
Yes, tune in.
I'm sitting there now. You got me thinking, like, what's the weirdest thing I've ever seen? I can't even think of anything right now. That's kind of
I don't know what would be weird.
I think we're trying to say, viewers, you're too damn boring. Anyways,
Yeah.
All right. Third question here. This one you got to think back a little bit to your heyday.
Okay.
Youngest you can remember playing a video game system. What was that game you were playing on that video game system?
So my first video game system was a Game Boy Pocket. I had the red one, and I think it was Pokemon. I did have Pokemon Red. I think that was our first. Me and my brother both got a Pokemon or a Game Boy Pocket with the Pokemons in it. So I think that was it. I don't know if there was a Game Boy game before that, but that's certainly my most memorable one. So yeah, Pokemon Red with a Game Boy Pocket.
Interesting.
I think I'm literally identical to that. I got a Game Boy Color with Pokemon Silver. But I mean, I feel like for our generation, that was like the standard. Hey, you've got a Game Boy. Here's a Pokemon game.
See,
absolutely.
And here's where you see the age separation. I think, and I could be wrong by this, or maybe it's just the difference between me and you guys. You guys are all about Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
Me, it was, I my first system I remember being the Nintendo, the regular Nintendo, but I always had a buddy of mine who had the Atari. So it's funny. We always joke around at work about we'll just throw references out to games, and for a second they'll think and they'll recognize what game it is that we're throwing references out to. So like, I don't remember. Like this morning, I woke up and I go into work and the guy's walking in front of me, and I just bust out the Mortal Kombat voice. I'm like, round one, fight, like that. And the guy turns around, finish him, like he knew I was doing Mortal Kombat. So like there's times we'll do that, and then all of a sudden before you know it, we're talking about Pitfall, we're talking about Frogger, we're talking about let's see, Paperboy for Nintendo, we're talking about Skate or Die, which some people might not remember. That was where you'd piss off the neighbor because you were riding a half pipe in the backyard. Yeah, it was pretty funny. And Paperboy, I mentioned, was fantastic, especially when you lost points for throwing a paper through the guy's window. So like I think of those kind of things, and I'm hearing you guys talk Pokemon, and I'm like, all right, I'm picturing myself back in this realm over here,
No, so we weren't allowed to have video games growing up. So when we
Hmm.
finally did get, like, we had a neighbor with a Nintendo and played Street Fighter and all that kind of stuff. But I think, oh man, I don't know how old I was. But
Ninja
yeah, the
Gaiden.
the first video games that we were allowed to have were Game Boys because we were traveling cross country, and basically I think my parents wanted to shut me and my brother up, and we played that for hours on end.
Bonus question I got to ask to both of you. Please tell me you guys played Blades of Steel, being from the north.
Nope, can't say that
Can't
I
say
have.
I did.
Wow. I think
don't know.
hockey, Blades of Steel. I mean, what a
I had
fantastic hockey game
You
for
know,
Nintendo.
I don't understand. My father is an amazing hockey player. It's all him and his brothers did. They grew up on the ice. He never taught me a thing.
Dang.
It's weird. It's weird. This guy, he's an angel on skates. Well, he used to take us out to the rink and he could skate backwards faster than I could even move forward ever. He never took me, like, I don't know. I think he liked baseball more. So he always took me out for baseball stuff, but it's weird. You mentioned that, like, my dad did tons of hockey, but he never played it.
Interesting.
That's very interesting.
So,
Huh.
Okay, Alan, I've asked this to
Yeah.
everyone so far. This is, I think, my only standard question that I include in the rapid fire. What's the greatest race in the world?
Oh, so I've thought about this because you did ask it last week, and you mentioned you're gonna make it one of your go-tos. So I think there's a couple different like scenarios here. In person is very different than on TV.
Yes, agreed.
Because
100%.
I would say the greatest race would be Spa F1.
Hmm.
Like I don't think racing gets better than that. But obviously I've never been to Spa. I would love to go, but in person I don't know if watching the race would be that fun. It would be an amazing environment to be in and just a bucket list thing, but I don't think the racing would be the greatest thing to watch while you're there. In person, I think what's going on right now in Ohio at Eldora, the King's Royal,
Mm.
3-4 nights of dirt sprint cars going around a dirt track, all right next to each other. I think that's for money. For your money, I don't think you're gonna have a better time going to a race rather than that's gonna be better than Eldora Kings Royal.
Wow.
All right, good
That's
answer.
different
That's
answers every week.
that's probably not gonna be a very popular answer, but like, okay, you could go to the Indy 500, but you're gonna watch a front stretch the whole day, and the
Yep.
cars go around once every, I don't know, 40 seconds. I don't know what their lap times are there.
No, you're right. That's exactly accurate. Hmm.
Daytona, same kind of thing. You're too far. I think it's too big and you're too far away, and you don't get the sensory overload
I'm gonna
that you do
disagree
at
on the
sprint
Daytona
cars.
part.
Okay.
I got my chances. I've been to Daytona plenty of times. I grew up about 100 miles or so south of there.
Uh-huh.
And if you get up to about the second section, now, of course, the grandstands are different from the last time I was there. If you get up about the second section up, not the bottom grandstands, but you go up about a section. Every year we would go to, at the time, the Bud Shootout, now the Busch Clash again. And I would find a way to have the seats to where I was directly eye level with going right down pit road, and I could see everything on the track all the way around, except for the smallest piece of where there was one video board. And I had a video board right in front of me to kind of compensate that one piece. But I mean, to listen to those cars coming down the back straightaway, because I'm over here off turn 4 at that point, listen to those cars coming down the back straightaway towards you. I mean, if you ever go outside and you listen to an 18-wheeler on the highway from like a far distance, you hear that loud, like,
Mhm.
that's what it sounds like coming towards you.
Gotcha.
And it just, that's
Yeah,
where,
that'd be cool. I'd be down for that. But do you need binoculars to see the far side of the track?
not at all. Indy, yes, probably. Not Daytona. You could look right across and see everything going on.
Okay. Okay. I'd love to go to Daytona 24.
I've done that once. That was cool.
That's been high on my bucket list.
That's
for
one of
race to go.
those you just walk around and enjoy yourself and
Exactly.
camp
You
or
can walk
whatever.
around,
Right.
take it all in.
And I think Spa
that'd
would
a
be the
blast.
same.
See,
Yeah,
the one
true.
thing I'll say though, and just to talk about that and the difference of on TV versus in person, I got the very fortunate opportunity to go to the Italian Grand Prix. And
Wow.
I mean,
Yeah.
the Temple of Speed. This is one of
Wow,
the pinnacle
fancy.
tracks to see an F1 race at. I had an amazing time, but it's just different. I mean, I was in the I sat pretty much most of the race on the after the Lesmos, and there's that part where they dip under the bridge of the old banking and then they come up and they have that hard left
Yep.
or that chicane. That's where I was, and it's an amazing experience watching those F1 cars tear around. But I mean, it's a forest there, and you see your corner just yum, 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 yum.
Right,
And you
exactly.
wait. It's a different experience. I'm not saying bad. I'm not saying wrong. Again, being able to be out in the crowd as they had the podium celebration, incredible, unrivaled in any of my automotive experiences. But
Mhm.
it's just different, and I think that's why also I've come back to. Again, I was a NASCAR fan much younger, and I've come back to it. That's the big difference, the big thrill that you can see the whole race from one position at a lot of the tracks, that they're so close all the time. So that's a different story for a different time. I think you had the next question, Chris.
Yeah, and this one's really going to get interesting. I being as tired as I am right now, working on like 60 hours of work or something like that this week, and doing all the broadcasts I've done. I always sit there and I'm like, what's the most awkward question I can ask somebody? Because those are the ones that make you think. And I think this one's going to make you think, Alan. NSYNC or Backstreet Boys?
Backstreet Boys.
Wow.
Streets back. All right. I knew it.
The
I knew
Millennium
it.
CD. I didn't have. Eventually got the NSYNC CD, but I had the Millennium CD first. I think
So-
that was one of my first. Oh no. Oh man. Eiffel 65 was my first CD.
Oh,
Actually, that was my first like quote unquote album I ever bought, and I bought it on cassette.
the one
And I
hit
liked it
wonders.
so much I had my mom buy it on CD.
I think you have to run a blue truck now next week.
Yeah, right.
So it's funny you say that answer, because it's like I grew up in a time period where it was you almost lost your man card if you said you listened to NSYNC or Backstreet Boys or 98 Degrees or LFO or whoever at
Dude,
that time.
UFO. Oh man.
And well, yeah, I mean, there's so many out there. Jordan Knight
BB
and
Mac.
all the BB Mac, yeah, all those guys out there. Those times that
Yeah.
Jesse McCartney, all them people.
Uh-huh.
But and it's like, and all of a sudden, I've been married 5 years, did some music DJing myself, and
Okay.
and all of a sudden now it's okay, 15 years later after you've graduated high school or whatever, however long it's been, it's like not only now is it totally okay to admit that you listened to that kind of music, but if you're around those same exact friends that you were 15 years ago, if Bye 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 by NSYNC comes on or Backstreet Back you're blasting that thing out the radio, and you guys are all jamming at one time in the car.
It's vintage, baby. It's all about the nostalgia feels. Yeah, no,
It is,
it's
right?
crazy because I think I remember being in, man, I might have been in elementary school or middle school. I think it was middle school. And like we had a tour of the high school, and you got a high schooler to pair up with, and he'd take you around or whatever. And uh my guy asked me what kind of music I listened to, and I said Backstreet Boys because I had the Millennium CD, and like I don't think he could have rolled his eyes any harder at the time,
He probably almost stuffed you in a locker room.
Yeah, exactly. I was just some middle school twerp listening to the Backstreet Boys, but man, the nostalgia when that stuff comes on nowadays,
Oh, you're
you better
jamming.
watch out because all of the white girls are going to the dance floor.
Oh, and guys, trust me. When I remember, I would play a set of NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, or whatever was requested of that kind of era, and when that stuff came on, you got people on the floor, and it wasn't just females; it was guys too. They were all jamming.
I believe it. It's a
So
party.
that whole when you got judged because you were 16 and I like Bye Bye Bye.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we didn't have to worry about that now at 35 or whatever.
No, yeah, people are much more comfortable with their choices now.
We did touch on this a bit earlier, and I swear I have this written down as such. But it's what's your favorite car, and why is it German?
Um, so there's no way I can pick a favorite car of mine. There's too many cars out there that I love. Um, but if I absolutely had to pick one, it would probably be the F40 Ferrari F40.
It's
I
not
don't
a
think
German
no,
car.
no, not German. I don't think it gets better than that car for that. It's just that car is what everybody thinks of when they think of like a fast car. You don't have to know anything about cars, but you get asked to draw what a fast car looks like, and it's going to be red and it's going to be wedge shaped like a Ferrari F40, and it's going to have a wing on the back. So yeah,
Tracy Chapman just came out of my head for a second. Great call. Oh, great song. Fast Car. Just saying.
fast car. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, there's no way I could pick just one, but gun to my head, one favorite car, it's Ferrari F40.
I can't help but think about the old Volkswagen commercials for like 15 years ago with the guy from Germany, and he's like, "Vida
Tata. Yeah,
represent
yeah, yeah.
Deutschland."
I
And he
love
was
those
like this
commercials. They're
like
so funny.
evil sarcasm, like dude, and I'm like, that guy's awesome right there.
German techno dub house, whatever you want to call it, with the lab coat. Yeah, those commercials were great.
Oh man, where we at? Me, I think again.
Yeah, it's
Or
your last one.
yeah, all right, last one here. Favorite cartoon as a kid?
Oh,
Got him with one finally.
I'll say SpongeBob, just because I can still watch it today. I probably watched more Rugrats than anything else, but SpongeBob is just it's lived so well. Like you can watch it today and still laugh, and like probably 50% of all memes ever on the internet are from that show, so
Fair.
you can't beat it.
So you would watch SpongeBob over, say, if I threw YouTube on right now and put on an hour of Bugs Bunny or Looney Tunes or Tom and Jerry or anything like that?
Oh, absolutely. SpongeBob all day.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm
All
a,
right.
I respect that decision, but I'm not going to agree with it because I grew up the Bugs Bunny, Flintstones, Scooby Doo, that guy.
Right. No, yeah, I mean I watched a lot of Scooby Doo and all that kind of stuff too, but when SpongeBob came on, I think it changed the game. And I was probably a little bit older too,
Right.
but I mean, the fact that like it's funny for parents and like you can still watch it today, it's I don't know. I think it's stood the test of time. I think it's unbeatable.
Most underrated
Right.
cartoon show, by the way. Side note: Cat Dog. Period.
Yeah, Cat Dog was pretty good. I did watch a lot of that. Oh man, I'm now because I watched Nickelodeon more than Cartoon Network or Disney. I'm trying to think of all those old Nickelodeon shows now.
Hey Arnold,
Yeah, yeah. Oh my
all
God,
that,
my brother was
Rugrats.
obsessed. Yeah, see, like I liked all that, and Keenan and Kel. Those
Yep.
were my jams. Cousin Skeeter, those kind of shows. I like those shows because like I said, I was a little bit older than for the cartoons at that point, but yeah, SpongeBob.
Can't go wrong with SpongeBob. But
No, you
I've
certainly
got
can't.
final question here, and
Okay. Uh-oh.
when's Jordan gonna stop sandbagging the whole league and show his real speed?
Yeah, so it's funny because we were in some hosted races earlier tonight, and I was like, "Hey, question, is your throttle going all the way down by any chance? Like, I've seen it where like you go full throttle, but it doesn't register as full throttle." So I was like, "Oh man, if that was what was going on this whole time, then that's gonna be bad news." But
You know,
no, I don't know. As soon as I think if we practice some more, I think we can get him. But he's busier. He's got a girlfriend and other stuff to deal with. So luckily, I don't have all that kind of stuff, so I can spend a little more time on iRacing.
the important things. No, it was funny. Actually, I think it was like a few weeks ago when Chicagoland was the C fixed race. I jumped into it and I realized Jordan was in my split, and I didn't realize until we were literally like pulling off, and I don't know if my mic wasn't working or something, but I was like, oh, whatever. I'll message him after the race, and I felt really bad because like as soon as I started thinking about it, he wrecked out. And I was just like, oh, Jordan.
No, really.
I was like, come on, man. Here. I felt so
Damn.
bad. I don't know.
Damn.
He is good. I think he's gonna have his day, and I'm glad that keeps coming around and enjoys having fun with us. I don't want to. I pick on him because I care. I promise.
No, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I asked him, was like, "Hey, you good for next season?" He's like, "Oh yeah, dude, I'm having a blast." I was like, "All right, cool. As long as you're having fun."
All right. So I got a bonus question.
Okay.
This one actually involves both of you.
All right.
Oh, ooh.
Surprise.
Has anyone in this league ever gotten the both of you confused for each other?
Nah. Oh, yes. Somebody said our voices do sound alike. Was it you that said that?
It might have been because I'm like, there's times where I've heard Alan talk and I'm like, is that Sam talking? And vice versa. And not only tonight, but when we're out there and chatting stuff, talking to each other, in a GLSR chat or whatever. But I mean,
always get Alan mixed up with Tyler Brewer. I think they have similar sounding voices.
Man, I just sound like everybody.
or is it the opposite?
No, I swear.
Maybe
I always
everybody sounds like me. Good point.
It's like everything tastes like chicken. Everyone sounds like Alan Best.
No, yeah, I think somebody's told me that it might have been you, Chris. I think it was you now that I think about it. But yeah, no.
Now you'd say weird things like that.
I don't see it.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't know. I guess our listeners will have to let us know. But I've had moments where I've mistaken constantly Tyler Brewer and Alan talking. I do that all the time.
I don't think I've ever heard Tyler talk.
I think it's because you think it's Alan Best talking.
It could be.
Well,
they sound alike.
It looks like you guys already have next week's podcast guest all set to go.
All right, it's gonna be me, Alan, and Tyler all talking and figuring out who's talking.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. The confused the captain episode. I got it.
Absolutely. Hey, at least I don't change my paint schemes as much as I used to, but I used to do that every week, and then I'm sure you were like, "Who is this car again?" I think this is 22. So I used to always. Oh man, who really hated Ryan? Or when we had race control, Ryan hated when I did that because he always would try and realize whose paints was who. And that one season, I seriously had a different paint like every race. It made him so annoyed. Maybe not that annoyed, but it frustrated him.
In a league in my past, we would actually sometimes, like, four of us would run on like a team together. We would sometimes alternate paint schemes with each other, or at times even show up as the same paint scheme.
Oh my god, it's evil.
All right, we got a little bit of time.
Okay.
You want to know where we're going next season?
Let's talk about it. Actually, nah. Let's keep it a secret.
All right. Well,
bye guys.
Thanks for coming. Sorry that we blue balled you.
What? You got to cliffhang them like that?
No.
I mean, you're not gonna break out the fact that the trucks are at Brands Hatch next season.
We want to know where you're going next week. Tune in next week.
Here we are. All right. The admins discussed. We labored. We had some arguments. We had to make some compromises. But we've brought out a finely baked, I think, a good, balanced, fun schedule. Gentlemen, we are starting the season. Mark your calendars. 9/8/21. We're going to Auto Club to start the season.
Wow.
And yes, that implies what you think. We are going to do.
Auto Club.
We are doing no Talladega. We are doing no Daytona.
Man.
We're going to try it, and I really think I'm hoping that
it goes
saw
poorly?
how Michigan. Well, sure. No. Michigan reaffirmed to me, I think the 2 mile length is the ideal maximum. Well, I know Indianapolis is a longer track, but it's a different shape for that D-oval high bank. I just feel like we always started the season with Daytona or Talladega. Everyone would go crazy. It's the first race of the year. We'd have these big wrecks, have people leave, and have these tensions start day one. And I wanted to make sure that we had this calendar with a few tracks to give lots of room to just figure out how everyone races, because every season we have new guys. We got to figure out who's working with who, and I firmly believe Auto Club is going to put on a great race, and I think it's like all things, we want to try it. Some seasons we try different stuff to see what works. So Auto Club is starting off the season.
And I'll add to it why I think it's a good idea to do this. I said this before too in another league when we put the schedule together. It's like everybody thinks the tradition is Daytona at the beginning, which makes sense because that has been NASCAR's tradition since the 1980s. Because believe it or not, before I think 1985, Riverside was the first race of the season.
Yeah, Riverside.
So, and I might be wrong on that year, but this is the chance to show that, you know what? Yes, we're playing a simulator, but you know what? This is an actual league. This is something that people take time out of their night and they do. It's the equivalent of going to your local establishment and being a part of a dart team or going to play rec ball, whatever you like to do. This is the same kind of thing. So why follow the tradition of another organization or club? This is your chance to branch out to something different. Mm-hmm. So instead of going to Daytona,
and I'm excited to have a West Coast track,
go to Auto Club.
Absolutely.
Sparling finally gets a home race. So,
but does that mean that Callie Dean crashes out earlier?
Well, I guess we're gonna have to see.
Get it?
I got it. I've been hearing it all season. I got it. So, race 1, Auto Club. I'm super excited. It took some debating to convince some people to do it, but I think it's the right move. We're going across the country. Second race, still going to be a beach vibe. It's Homestead, Miami. I think.
Okay, so we're going coast to coast.
We're going coast to coast. I mean, starting west, going east. It's I think
I like Homestead.
Homestead's
a good race.
I think it's put on some of our most successful, interesting races.
Yep,
I still think
multiple grooves.
Multi-groove. I like it. It's not a race where people are encouraged to go crazy. And I wanted tracks that were big, tracks that provided space, and also that don't allow people to charge through. I think I think people will settle in with these two races. That's my hope. Third, we're bringing it back. We're going to Charlotte. I missed having it on the calendar this season. I really did. I know Atlanta's similar. Charlotte's back. That's race 3.
Okay.
Most likely we'll run, the traditional, memorial paints at Charlotte. We haven't confirmed those exact details yet, but we know Charlotte's going to be third race. But here's the one I'm really excited about. Not only pack your bags, not only pack your passports, but you better get that truck on a boat. We're going to Japan and the land of the rising sun. We are doing
my goodness,
the Twin Ring Oval. And since we're shipping those trucks all the way over the Pacific, we're staying there for 2 races. We're going to do
to Scuba County.
Oval. No, we're we really are trying to we understand it's a big expense for the teams to ship all their trucks overseas, for our demonstration for all of our Japanese fans. We're staying at the same facility. Twin Ring has a road course.
Mm-hmm.
So we're doing Twin Ring Oval, and then we're going to do the full GP circuit, Twin Wing Road.
So Toyota finally gets a home race.
Yes, for our manufacturer there. And I have already got a bunch of great paint schemes planned. So weeks 4 and 5, we will be in Japan.
Oh my God.
Our first official overseas races, because, Canadian Tire was our first international race, which was fun. But I live for the weird, odd,
yes, you do.
ideas, and I've been pushing hard for this. And actually, Blaine was the one that said, if we're going to buy Twin Ring, why don't we race there twice?
That's a good point. That's a great point.
2 for 1. I think it's a great road course. So we're going to Japan.
Okay.
To put everyone at ease, we're going to throw some classics out there. We're going to come back to the States. 6th or 8th of the season is at Rockingham.
Okay.
So I'm excited for that. I think when we did it last, it was too early in the season, and guys were,
I agree.
A bit frisky, and I wanted to stay to bigger tracks at the start, but we're bringing back Rockingham. I think it's a great race. I'm super excited to have Rockingham back.
Cool.
Classic NASCAR track.
Classic.
This next track was the one we wanted to. We usually try to let different. Everyone in the Discord knows if you're listening and you're not a part of the the drivers, you're just someone who watches. We let different types of races get voted on. So we'll usually give an option for the dirt race or a road race. But this one was picked by the team captains of each team. We're going to Nashville Super Speedway for the 7th race of the season, and I'm excited for that. 8th race of the calendar. This was Travis's idea to actually go back to this track because he put all this time into building the website for showing the history of our overall results at tracks, and then he gets mad that I always am picking a bunch of different new tracks. He's always like, we need to pick trucks to go back to tracks we've been at. I'm like, well, what's the fun of that?
Yep.
So
no, I agree.
But he wanted to go back to this track, and not only are we going back to the same track, but we're going back to the same Halloween weekend. We're going back to Eldora for dirt.
Oh, Eldora Dirt Halloween.
Yeah, we did that last time.
That's a throwback. Yep.
I mean, we had fun at Lernerville. We had fun at Bristol Dirt. I am really excited to go back to Eldora. I hear you crying in the back. Where are the short tracks? Where are the short tracks? Well, here it is. We're going to IRP for the 9th race. Again, Travis wanted some repeat tracks in there. It's a feisty little short track. It's not going to be a playoff track this year, but it will be the 9th race of the calendar. 10th race, you know what it is already. It's the prehistoric forest. It's going to be Michigan. So that's our regular season. Now, any comments and thoughts? I'm open to, this is the podcast where we don't hold back. That's our regular season calendar right there.
I'm good with the schedule. I think the one thing that I caught right off the top was, you brought up 2 tracks that have worn out surfaces on the 2 mile Auto Club and then the 1.5 mile Homestead. And then, you mentioned the transition to Charlotte, which is still a fast 1.5 mile track, a lot of draft involved. Surface is really starting to wear a little bit there. But still, all 3 of those tracks, fantastic races. And you can even races before then you go outside the box and outside the country. And frankly, I think I'm gonna speak for all the fans. If you guys use all Japanese numbers on your cars, I'm gonna be pissed.
Well, now we know what we're gonna do.
But if you hadn't mentioned it, I wouldn't have done it. But now here we are.
Yeah, exactly.
I already feel I'm gonna be talking Japanese the whole time. So,
Dewa bango wa nan desu ka?
What?
Gesundheit.
I took one semester of Japanese. I don't remember much.
Nice. No, I probably would have liked more tracks that we've already done, but I think we do have a good amount in there. Mm-hmm. So I think what the new ones are: Auto Club, Bottega,
Auto Club, the 2 Twin Rings, in Nashville.
Oh yeah, Nashville.
Everything else we've done.
I'm very indifferent on Nashville, so that's the only one that I'm just meh on. But other than that, I'm okay with it.
It was the chosen vote for the captains was Nashville. I'm trying to remember who was the follow-up. I think it was Dover. I was really into the idea of Dover. I was bummed it didn't
win. Fighting for Dover for 3 seasons, I feel like now. I love Dover, and we haven't gone there, but
we'll get it eventually. I mean, I love throwing I want as many new tracks as possible. But I like how it all balances out. I want all these new weird tracks, and Dean wants only ovals, and things usually level out to a nice balanced calendar.
Yeah.
We talked about a regular season.
Okay. Playoffs?
We're going to talk the playoffs. And,
okay, let's talk playoffs.
I love this track. I'm excited to have this track back. First playoff race is going to be Gateway.
Okay. Yep.
I think it's a great track. I love the super hard braking zone into 1 and 2. Like I don't know. I love that track a lot. Even though I don't like St. Louis, I love that track. It's on the Illinois side, so technically I guess it's all right.
It is.
Now, this is important for everyone to know. We're going to have a bye week this season. We're having Thanksgiving week. We're having it off. We're going to plan a special race. I don't want to announce anything 100% yet. We're
some
floating
kind of a
some
turkey
ideas.
trot.
Something fun, some turkey trot. Exactly. I don't want to lock it down yet. Give us some flexibility, but we will be taking Thanksgiving off for racing.
That's where we have to go back to our super speedway for a fun race.
that's most likely what's going to happen. Come
God.
with some special prize for winning the turkey trot.
Never
But-
going to find a way to run the Formula One cars at Linear.
Hell yeah, we will. But that gives you plenty of time to practice for race 2, Road America. We are bringing back the playoff road course. The vote passed. So
long.
the road playoff course is back. So we're going to Road America. I'm crushed it wasn't Chicago Street, but maybe it's for the best because I think Chicago Street would have been an amazing race, but I think it would have been a mess.
Too much of a wild card for the playoffs, probably.
Yeah. It goes against the idea that you've worked hard to get to this point for consistency. Let's have this bomb of a race. I love the course so much. I'm devastated we didn't get it on there. Yes, I'm biased. It's my home. Ugh. But you'll recognize the rest of this.
You have Chicagoland, so
I always
home race.
lose. So a home road course is much more appetizing to me, but that's me being incredibly selfish. You'll recognize the rest of the calendar. It's Indianapolis and Chicagoland. I love the combination of the two. I think they're super exciting back to back. How can you not? I mean, I think the Indianapolis race was an absolute thrill last season. I can't wait for it this season. Black Horizon is our sponsor, and they love it that we go to Chicagoland for the final race of the season. So that's season 5. That takes us all the way to December 15th, which is crazy to think about.
Holy smokes.
So we're announcing it here first. I'm sure we're going to have lots of excitement and lots of complaints, but we're letting you know here first. That's where you're going to get to hear it. You've heard it. And we'll be posting the information soon, following up, how soon you too can race here at GLSR. But all right. I mean, that's, unless you guys got anything else for me, is that it? Is that the show?
Well, Bobby, I'll tell you, I think it's time we call it a night.
All right. Well, I'm glad that we got to have Alan on.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it. I don't know if I'm the most deserving, but I'm glad that the OGs are getting on. Then Keith and then me. I'll definitely take it. I appreciate it. It was fun.
You had an awesome Michigan race, so even on that alone, we would have wanted you anyway. Granted, we had already planned for you to be on the show before that, but we absolutely.
I could have messed it up.
You could have. We could have been, talking about, it could have been. We were so close, but so far. But we're lucky to have guys who've been here since day one and are excited to race here, and that's why I'm happy we get to do this show, which is not only something fun for me and Chris, but also a thank you for you guys, and that's why we want you on, so we can reminisce about that time that you crashed into me at Richmond.
That happened.
It did happen. It wasn't your fault.
Well, Alan does make history tonight, by the way. William Calhoun came on as our first guest. Alan comes on as our first guest. That has the truck he drives has more wins than he does.
Oh yeah, that too. I thought you were gonna say Keith won after his appearance, so now I have to win.
No pressure. You have to win this weekend.
All right, IRP, here you go.
Because I'm going to be honest, if you win this weekend, I am deleting myself out of GLSR's Discord page. And I'm not saying that for the sake of I don't think you can win. I just know the onslaught of everybody's going to want to be on the show.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I have a funny feeling it's probably not going to happen, but who knows? It might. I hope it does.
All right, well, go to GreatLakesSimRacing.com. Go check us out there. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter. And we're excited to keep doing this here. And guys, don't worry. We are just here for the GLSR.
Are we supposed to all say that at once?